First, I'd like to start by saying all praise to Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Now, this is I got like a couple articles on basically articles that's leading up to this Third World War that's going to kick off between America and Russia when they like really actually lock horns, and the scriptures say that the spirit of Yahweh Shai is the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. So it's imperative that we bring out the prophecies, man. Seeing that that we coming into 2017 and everything's really turning up. So
came after Russia managed to broker a peace deal in Syria with the help of Turkey. The much anticipated nationwide ceasefire came into effect on Thursday at midnight, Damascus time. The deal represents a major breakthrough and gives hope for a solution to the long-running Syrian crisis. The Russian defence minister says that 7 key opposition groups have vowed to join the truce, although groups that do not abide by the ceasefire will be considered terrorists. Russia and Turkey have agreed to monitor and assist the process as the guarantors of the deal. However, the current US administration, which had previously been considered a key player in any Syrian settlement, is not expected to participate, as Murad Gazdiev explains.
John Kerry and Sergei Lavrov, for a while there, they were inseparable, visiting each other, closeting themselves away in Geneva for hours, for days at a time, trying to solve the world's problems. They had their moments, but when it came to Syria, it was abject failure. Whether it was arguing and blaming each other about an aid convoy attack, the reasons for a ceasefire failure, or the United States accidentally bombing Syrian troops, they just couldn't find a common position, common ground. And eventually, Russia had enough.
As for Jabhat al-Nusra, the US not only doesn't touch it, but during all our discussions, they tried in every way to formulate agreements so al-Nusra was not attacked. Of course, we can't accept that because al-Nusra is a terrorist organization, as admitted by the United Nations, the US, Russia, and other countries.
Time to switch things around, mix things up. Enter the Troika, not the likeliest of A-teams, Iran, Russia, and Turkey, but certainly one that gets things done. The Aleppo evacuation, thousands of lives saved, the city spared devastation. The ceasefire effort in Syria, the biggest ceasefire, theoretically, that the civil war has ever seen. Now they've got plans for a peace settlement, even a roadmap. They're now doing what the United States promised to do for years and finally separate the radical jihadists from the moderate opposition.
During the last 2 months, we spent most of the time developing maps to show where the main opposition groups could be divided. Information we had earlier requested from the United States.
The United States just couldn't do it. They blamed Russia, they blamed Assad, they blamed the conditions. Friends of Syria failed. The ISSG, International Syria Support Group, failed. The talks in Geneva failed. The Troika, the new Syrian coalition, is getting things done. They now have plans to...
And, that's prophecy because them three were supposed to come together to basically combat America. And, hold on. Yeah, that was basically it. Them three supposed to came together basically to combat America. And, eventually they're going to come together. Well, they already came together. We're just waiting for this war to, really kick off. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. That's talking about Russia. So we're supposed to go out on the highways and byways and prophesy against Russia. and say, Thus saith the Lord, Power, behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Right, so the Lord ain't with them Russians, man, them Edomite devils. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses, and horsemen. Now that turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws is talking about Russia going back into its communist mentality. And to show proof of that, all you got to do is Google Russia and former Soviet Union, coming back together, something to that effect. Because if you start, searching deep, you'll actually see that a lot of them Soviet Unions members and Russia have all types of trade agreements, have all types of, deals going on to where they came back together. So not only are they coming together, Iran, Turkey, and Russia are coming together because Turkey and Russia was just into it. Turkey shot down a Russian plane. Turkey was just with America, helping further the terrorist agenda. But now they came together. So, but this is back into the scriptures. This is verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company of bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Right. Persia and Iran, Ethiopia and Libya, with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer, which is Turkey, and all his bands, and the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. It says, "Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself." Right, and that's what you see all these these military trainings going on, these influx of missiles being made and developed, more soldiers being put into armies, into the army, more money being put into military, more agreements. Russia has an agreement to where they can instead of being drafted, you can go for like a I think it was a one year, or I think it was a 1 year contract, just to serve in the Russian military. I'm gonna have to go search that information back out. But yeah, they making all types of deals and agreements to come together and making it to where they soldiers have it, can get involved with it. They making it, basically they getting ready for this war, and they making it to where they have to fight, and they soldiers get a little leniency, so for lack of a better term. But yeah, it says for that it says, prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia gonna be a guard to these nations, because Russia is the strongest. Russian is that Russian bear. Russia is stronger than them nations that is protected, man. And also
Expand, grow, and
because it's biblical prophecy.
inviting a whole host of new nations, and noticeably absent among them is the United States, and that must not sit well with what.
Right, because they're not dealing. The United States has an agenda to bring in this new world order through the Rothschilds, through the elites, and they got to bring about this prophecy. So said the scriptures. So America is not going to be involved with Russia too much longer.
Washington. Cue the timing of new sanctions. On the same day that Russia, Iran, and Turkey agree to this huge new ceasefire without so much as telling the United States, you have new sanctions leveled against Russia.
Right. So Russia. It's like, what do you say again?
Is the United States, and that must not sit well with Washington. Cue the timing of new sanctions. On the same day that Russia, Iran, and Turkey agree to this huge new ceasefire without so much as telling the United States, you have new sanctions leveled against.
And that was America's counter, putting sanctions on Russia, because America is the so-called big bully of the world. Russia is trying to get be diplomatical, bring peace back to the region. Help the so-called emerging markets and other nations develop themselves a third world countries, Slovakia, and America is not having that because what it's showing is the prophecy in Isaiah where it says um, this is Isaiah chapter 14. Verse 4, it says, let me see. Yeah, 14 verse 4, it says, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how art the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. The Lord have broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. Right, so the Lord going to ultimately have Russia and the rest of the nations shoot missiles on America. He who smart the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hinders. Right, and that's what America trying to do is persecute the nations by putting sanctions on them. You know, and that's stopping the influx of money, that's stopping the influx of medical supplies, that's stopping business. You know, stopping good relations with other nations, trade, etc., etc. It said the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller come up against it. Right, and in the kingdom of heaven, you know, the trees gonna rejoice, and you know, another fold is the nations gonna rejoice. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee. All the chief ones of the earth it hath raised up from their thrones, like all the kings of nations. That's why they rising up for this third world war. It says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? And you know, America is really upset behind that. These nations is getting all this military arsenal, getting nuclear missiles. You know, they can fight back now, and Russia is making sure that they can fight back. You know, and America ain't with that because America can't be the bully no more. You know, and ultimately, when you like really look at it, America is like a third world country because America is so far in debt that you know the money that it does have really doesn't compare to a lot of the nations around the world, man. The only thing that's keeping that currency alive is the fact that people believe it's real, you know. But it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? That's why the nations start bucking up. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, right? That pride, and the noise of thy vows to the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee, right? Because ultimately America is, you know, corroding from the inside out, and America gonna be destroyed.
Russia.
Well, Kamal Alam, a visiting fellow at the Royal United Services Institute, which is a defence and security think tank, says that Washington is trying to move attention away from the breakthrough ceasefire deal.
If they want to distract from the good news in Syria by putting the sanctions on the Russians in DC at the embassy, it's obviously very unfortunate, especially, you know, as there's a new US president coming in. I mean, there could be a link because obviously the news coming out of Syria is very positive after, you know, years of negative news. The ceasefire seems to be coordinated on the ground. This is why the United States has been sidelined. They do not have a role because, unfortunately, the United States and the Europeans have been looking at the Syrian war through rhetoric and headlines, whilst the Russians have been looking at to reality. And the reality on the ground has always been very different in Syria.
All right, that's the end of the lesson. Shalom.